45.
What? Say that again.
Every single time it's your birthday, you turn 45. Literally been asking the same question and the answer is 45 like every time. For as long as I've been born.
Yeah, right.
Really, how old are you gonna be?
How old am I gonna be?
Yeah.
46.
46.
46, man. 45 right now.
This is, dude. I swear to God, it's been like 3 years. Since
You think I've been 45 for 3 years?
Every time I ask the question.
Oh my gosh.
Johnson conspiracy.
Hans Johnson here testing YouTube live at my office, chit-chatting with my son, Cabe, my number one son. He just told me that he thinks I'm 40. Would you call me 48 years old?
48, I thought you were.
Dude, come on.
He's not old.
All right, let's see if we can make this stream halfway decent. So we had a good coaching call last night, and this is my first week back after weeks, months, but several weeks of just being super busy, bouncing around. And Cabe, have I done a little bit of traveling lately?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just here and there.
Oh, trying to fix this. How much have I been in my office lately?
You spent one full day yesterday.
I spent a full day in here yesterday.
So that's about it.
So yesterday, oh, there we go. Okay.
8 hours, 10 hours.
So yesterday was a full day.
Yep.
And since when?
I feel like it's been like a month.
A month?
Yeah.
You haven't even seen me for a month.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a month since you've been gone.
How much was I in here before that?
Oh, you weren't even in here much either.
For the last 3 or 4 months, I haven't been around much.
That's true, I guess.
So
the house and everything.
So
but you've actually been talking to Cabe the whole time.
Yeah. Cabe's actually been the one that's been doing everything. Including the training calls and my videos, everything.
I've been working on my Hans voice.
Yeah, he's got a good Hans impersonation right now. So I don't know. I just thought I'd do a video here. Just a couple of reasons. One is get in the habit of just doing more videos, put more content out. And for me, I don't know about you if you're watching this video right now. It's Hans Johnson, TrueWealthFormula.com, wealthbuilder.io, and associated with the great and wonderful and powerful DannyJohnson.com too. But so my personality, my natural personality is sort of to kind of, it's easy for me to just, I have a really strong introvert side of my personality. So I like to just pretty much do my own thing, do research, reading, focus on different projects, development work, could be market investing. So I'm always sort of bouncing across a lot of different things, accounting, what have you. And to break out of that and be public and put effort into the public side takes a little bit for me. So I'm thinking if I start doing more videos, it'll get a little easier. So this last week, just a little update. It's Friday here in Texas Hill Country. And this is my first week back after being gone, quite a lot of traveling. We just did a big event this last, oh man, she's texting me right now. I just, I wonder if I'm in trouble.
Stop what you're doing.
Okay, she's not too mad at me. I was just telling Cabe about a little conflict that that my awesome wife and I are having right now, and it's a very small conflict. It's kind of a funny thing to talk about, especially since we just got done doing a marriage seminar this last weekend. So it's kind of perfect. If you were at that event, we talked it was an amazing event. We had just incredible, amazing time. It's marketed as it's Hot Marriage Secrets is the name of the event. This was our second annual one. So the first time we did it was last year. It was just an experiment. It was just like, hey, we get this idea, let's try it, you know. And the thing about it is our background for both of us is, you know, we both came from dysfunctional families. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary, official. What I call the corporate merger and acquisition program. And that's a joke, but not really. So anyway, we've overcome some pretty crazy stuff, like just the most unlikely scenario or situation for us to be. Oh, dude, you know what we should do when we do this? This is all an experiment right now. Can you go ahead and ping Facebook group? Just tell them I'm live. And
YouTube?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know how long I'm going to do this video for because
You should have done it, just put it on.
I know I'm supposed to do some kind of oops, what's going on here? I know. And what do I do with I'm gonna do something with Instagram too, right?
Yeah, just throw them all on there.
Yeah, all right. So this is a complete test, but how do I do this? Do I do a video real quick? Let me turn this around. If you're already watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry, it's pathetic. Hey, I got like one viewer. Right
That's
on.
me.
That's awesome. All right, yo, what's up? I'm doing a test right now, going live on YouTube. So if you want to jump over there and see whatever the hell I'm going to talk about, you can do that and have fun. All right, see you there. Bye.
Who's watching now?
All right, that was a terrible video. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. Going live on YouTube. All right, I'm not even telling them what. Anyway, did you put that up on our
Right now.
on our little page?
Put the link in.
Couple people there. Okay, cool. So anyway, what was I talking about? So we just did this awesome event called Hot Marriage Secrets, and it was 3 full days in Maui on the Ka'apana. Actually, Ka'apana's on Oahu. Ka'apana coastline. It was just absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, I couldn't believe how like the weather. Actually, there was a hurricane that came through, and but it didn't. It dissolved into a very small storm. But then afterwards, the weather just got so clear, and it literally looked like the South Pacific. We used to own a piece of an island in Bora Bora several years ago. I shared that story at Hot Marriage Secrets this weekend in Maui with all the guys and gals that were there. And anyway, but Maui was just absolutely gorgeous. Crystal clear water, like unbelievable, amazing, ridiculously clear water, crystal clear sky. We were at this really cool resort that wasn't too resorty. Some resorts are just ridiculous, like trap you in. It's hard to leave, and they're so it just like not fun to be in. This place was really cool. It had just like the perfect balance of sort of a casual resort feel. It was spread out, just amazing, unbelievable views. And from that vantage point on Maui, this is kind of like the northwest shoreline of Maui. You can see Lanai, you can see Molokai. So you have 2 islands right there, huge like islands are just popping up and crazy views. I just found this out. I grew up in Hawaii on the Big Island in Kona, and I just found out, Cabe, I don't know if you knew this, but Molokai, the island Molokai, has the largest sea cliffs in the world. They have cliffs on Molokai that are 2,000 feet high. So a cliff that's 2,000 feet high,
To water.
straight into the water. Imagine that, right?
That's insane.
Yeah. So that's where they used to do their sacrifices and stuff
What
like
the
that.
heck? That's nice. It's a
You're not
beautiful
gonna, you're not
place to
gonna,
die.
you're not gonna cliff jump that.
No.
That would be one. I wonder how many seconds it would take to. That's a long drop, dude. Imagine that. Figure it out. Calculate it.
Okay.
So anyway, Molokai has the largest sea cliffs in the world, apparently. So says somebody over there at the Hawaii tourism department. Depending on how accurate that is. Anyway, the view is just incredible, like amazing, unbelievable. There's a cliff right at our resort that we could just jump off and hang out and have fun. Anyway, so we just finished doing this event last weekend. I'm like, oh, dude, I got like
Takes about 11 seconds.
11 seconds. So it's 11-second free fall. Dude, that'd be rad.
You'd have a lot of prayer time.
You'd have a serious enema when that's done.
Oh yeah.
You would have some prayer time. 11 seconds is a
Yeah,
good
enough
amount of
to
time.
repent.
You could say
Yeah,
a lot
enough
of
to
prayers
repent
along the way
before-
there. That's pretty good.
By that time, that water's concrete though. There's no enema involved.
That's past the enema state.
Yeah.
That's full concrete.
That's concrete.
Might as well be hitting.
You're
There's
flying
some
at
kind of-
120 miles an hour.
Yeah, you've already hit terminal
Yeah.
velocity at that point, 120 miles an hour.
Which
So there's some kind of
takes
phys-
about 5.5 seconds for 1,000 feet when you're at terminal velocity.
Okay. Wow. So within 5 seconds, you're at terminal velocity. You're hitting 120 miles an hour. You've already hit.
Once you hit 120, then it'll
Then-
take about 5 seconds.
Okay. You have 5 seconds left. So, and then at that point, it's almost like a physiological change that happens with the water, right? Like
I
that
guess
water,
so. I
when you
mean,
hit it, it's literally like,
yeah, I feel
it's
like there's a
soft
point where-
until you hit it. When you
Yeah.
hit it, it's like,
I mean, if you're jumping at 50 feet, it hurts your feet. Like if you're jumping on a 50-foot cliff, it hurts your feet when you land. Like if you're not
Yeah.
careful, your legs are spread, you will get enema.
you get.
You'll get one. True story. Not
Yeah.
by, not
Yeah.
by me, but
Have you
by
jumped
a
off a
friend.
50-foot cliff before?
I've jumped off.
You have?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
I think it was at the Illy. But Zach was the one that jumped off the bridge, which was like a 65-foot.
Oh, over in Oregon?
Yeah.
Nice.
dislocated
I know my
his
brother
shoulder.
Josh has jumped. He dislocated his shoulder on a
Yeah,
60.
he
Oh,
fucked his
God.
shoulder up.
He has a history of that.
Yeah.
You have a history of that
I got-
shoulder
yeah.
stuff. I know my brother Josh has jumped off some crazy bridge jumps before. Anyway, the event was awesome. We had an amazing time. Rabbi Natan was there, and it was just so cool having him. And I tell you what, this event it is not an event for this event will disrupt every any kind of, like, if somebody's there and they're like, oh, I only want to hear what fits with my predefined, what I think I believe about something, or my perception or my view of certain topics. Like, this event will probably challenge all of that, including those of us that are, sharing there. And so anyway, it had an amazing time. There was incredible breakthroughs. And really it's called Hot Marriage Secrets. It's of course, my wife, she's like, pretty when it comes to that stuff, which is really cool, for me and for her and for anybody else that gets the benefit of it. And so anyway, but it's really, from my point of view, the event was really about identity. It's about really, like, knowing who you are and getting on the right path of that kind of growth of our identity and our Creator, and knowing our Father, our true Father's love for us, and letting His love mold and shape and transform our hearts. And that's not really a destination, that's a path. And so one of the things that I got to share this weekend was through some challenges that Danny and I had, a journey that the Creator's taken me on in dealing with me and my stuff, from everything from childhood wounds to decisions and things that I came into agreement with about myself and about others that was not truth, and that was not healthy, to even more recent stuff where we tend to look at a situation or a person and we think we know that person, so we just cast a judgment right away. And what's really going on there is we're living in that moment under the curse of knowledge of good and evil instead of under the law of love. And so when we do that, we're not actually living in the joy of truth and freedom. We're actually living as a prisoner of a lie from the past. So anyway, so I bring this up because right now I was just talking to Kay. We were chatting, and my wife and I are having a little bit of a conflict that we're kind of working through. Not in a bad way or anything like that, but so I'm just kind of praying through it from my side, just to kind of ask for some wisdom on like what's the stuff in me that needs to be let go of or changed or tweaked or positioned differently, or perception, right? And so like the conflict is that we just finished building this new home, and it was a really long project. It was like over 2 years, actually like 2.5, getting close to 3 years on total time as far as design and the whole thing. So, and it's a new thing for us. It's a custom home, like super custom. It gives custom to the word custom. It's built off of a kind of a very old world design with I don't want to use the word modern because modern's sort of perceived to be contemporary. It's not contemporary, but there's sort of a minimalist kind of feel on the inside. And the home has a lot of stone and glass and concrete, and it's kind of basically, it was designed to stand on its own, like to not really need art or to need things. And there's a desire in me to have space that's not, that doesn't feel to me like clutter. So the conflict that we're having is trying to figure out like how much stuff to put into home as far as hanging on the walls and things like that, and what goes where. Small minor thing, but it's kind of a big thing because her personality wants to be done and get the thing done type of thing. And I'm in a place right now where I keep telling her, like, I'm just trying to come up for air because it's been just a gnarly, it's been a crazy project with just, definitely more time and energy than I anticipated. And of course, more budget than I anticipated. The whole thing, we did it all cash as a commitment that I made to her. So that part's really fun, but I'm sort of in this place after all the travel and everything that we've done, and just the go that we've been on all summer long and the last few weeks of I just need to kind of take a chill pill for a while and not have any decisions related to the house and just let it kind of unfold, give it time, to sort of see where, like, there's still some rooms that are unfinished and furniture that's not done and things like that. And so anyway, so that's one of those things that we're sort of working through right now as far as like trying to sync up our pace. My pace right now is, like a set, like being in Waimea Bay and just getting pounded by the waves, and if you've ever been out surfing or bodyboarding or boogie boarding or anything like that, or even in bad, like caught in the surf or riptide or something like that, and you go over the falls, you're like, oh my God, you get to the top and you just barely have enough, you have like a fraction of a second of time to be able to take a breath and you just barely suck air in, right? And then that next set's pounding you and pushing you back down underwater, and then you're like getting back up to the surface and you're like, oh my God, you think you're gonna die, you're like held underwater, you think you're literally gonna die, and you barely break to the surface, and you take another, like you barely get to take a little breath, and then you get swamped again, and you're just getting rolled and you're getting pounded and you're getting pushed down, you're getting busted up and thrown against the reef, and you think you basically don't know if you're going to live, and you're just like, oh my God, I just want this set to be done so I can have time to catch breath. So that's sort of how this project's been for me. It's definitely been out of my comfort zone. You know, for people that are in our True Wealth Formula training program, this is like part of the fruit of managing money well and being able to have the excess capacity and capital to do a fun project that technically doesn't qualify as a core, you know, cash flow part of your asset base, right? Because a home, when you're living in it, it's not generating income. So it's not a cash flow asset. It's a negative cash flow asset. It's an appreciating asset or a speculation. So, but for years, our whole life, we've lived well below our means. Hey, Cabe, so throughout our life, have we usually had the nicest house in the block, or kind of the medium to, yeah.
Usually the smallest.
Yeah, not always the smallest, but no, there was a time.
But you guys weren't flaunting. You guys weren't.
Yeah, there was a couple times where we had big houses. Like obviously Pleasanton, that was a pretty good sized house. And then the Tuolumne, the original. But then after that, it was basically. So there were some seasons where we had, you know, larger homes and stuff like that.
It's
but
definitely the first time since we've been grown. Like
yeah,
a long time.
Yeah, we definitely. So for a good portion, we, you know, most of the time we lived way below our means. We lived in either smaller homes or fixer-up homes or whatever, far below what our actual means was or our capacity was. So we're having fun with this place. But so anyway, the point is, actually, there's no real point to this video right now. It's basically the only point to this video is for me to do a video, but I'm not supposed to tell you that because that would be a little bit not appropriate. But yeah, so I'm doing this video just to do a video. But the point that I was making is simply that yeah. So it's a little conflict that we're working through. And we got to pray through, and just, you know, for me. And this is for those of you guys that were at HMS this last weekend, or any of you guys that are, you know, following the warrior code that we talked about there. You know, this is that part where it's like, okay, you know, I have to step back and pray, you know, and really ask for my Father to lead me and really ask for His perspective and insight on this to mold and shape and tweak my heart. In any place or any area that I need to move, because I don't have the wisdom in my flesh, where I'm at now. If I was a super religious person, I could just sit here and go, oh, I could make all my claims, and I could just say I am whatever, you know, and I have the mind of Christ, and well, that's honestly, like, most of the time that's just pride, right? The way to the kingdom, and this is the message that Christ was trying to get across, and this is why his heart was so gentle for the broken and for the sinners, okay, for the tax collectors, prostitutes, whatever. Because they were not acting like they already knew. They knew they didn't know. And so if you look at the consistencies in his message and across all of the writings, it's the path to the kingdom is not like standing here and being self-righteous and being like, oh, I know the answer, you know, I'm right. My perspective and my way of seeing this is right, because I got the mind of Christ, you know, or whatever. The road to the kingdom is actually knowing that we don't know. And so I don't know if my perspective on this is accurate or not. So it's an opportunity for me to basically, even though I'm kind of frustrated by it, and I'm also, I know that she's a little frustrated and really wants to get this part of the project done. She wants to have it done, and she's an incredible finisher, and she's incredible at attention to detail, and that's such a blessing for me and to me and for both of us and for our family, and I'm so thankful for that. And she's just looking for direction from me. She's just saying, hey, I just need to know, like, is this okay? Can we have this stuff here? Does it need to go there or whatever? And I'm in this place right now where I'm just like, man, I'm just trying to come up for air. If you've ever built a custom home before, like the amount of decisions that have to be made, right? The complexities, the craziness of it. And that's not the only thing that's been going on in my life for the last couple years. Let alone just the last few weeks or, few months. Like, it's just been one thing after another, after another, after another. So trying to reconcile that difference right now, with, her desire to do the right thing, which is get it done. And also to honor her husband and find out, okay, where do you want this? What do you want in this room? What do you want on this wall? And then my state of really just wanting to take a few deep breaths, just chill out, and also not exactly really knowing. I'm not sure if I want this picture on this wall or this painting on this wall or what have you. I'm not sure yet. We're still not there. So my personality is just, hey, we got through the big hard part. We're in the home. Everything's cool. We're having a good time. It's a beautiful place. These other details are going to work themselves out over time. It's time for me to get my focus swung back around on my business, which I've been basically put on hold for months now due to all these other family and other things, and celebrating our 25th anniversary. We've been traveling. We were down in the Cayman Islands just last week, and then this is before Maui. We were in Maui last week, and then the week before that in Cayman Islands, and then the week before that I was in Kona, and we've been just basically like, it's been there's been a lot happening. So the point is that trying to reconcile those like differences instead of attacking each other and saying, hey, whatever, which is easy to do. If I'm getting frustrated or feeling stressed out, I can start to essentially feel like I'm right and, she's wrong, or I could receive it as dishonor when that's not at all the case. That's not, in fact, it's the exact opposite. She's trying to honor, and she's just looking for that answer. But I'm in a state right now where I don't know the answer. So what do you do? So how that applies to what we talked about this last weekend, one of the principles of the code is to do the right thing no matter what. So what's the right thing? The right thing is to, take a step back, take a deep breath, seek the Creator, ask Him for wisdom, and really kind of, and then to let go of that place of hardness, in our heart where we say, no, this is how it has to be, because I could capitulate. I could just say, okay, whatever you want to do, just do it. Well, that might not be the right answer. In the moment, it might seem like the right answer because, it helps her and helps her need to want to be finished and to get it done. And, which is a good thing. It does need to get done. It helps, it would help the immediate situation of the conflict, right? It would help just resolve the conflict, keep the peace, but that may not be the right, decision or the right answer. I could also go the other opposite direction and just say, this is what I want. Stop asking me again, or what have you, but that could be wrong too, and so it's really once you understand, once He deals with us and that code gets planted in us, it's a very weighty thing. It's not like just some kind of thing where, you have a list and you go, oh, okay, boom, I'll check that list, do the right thing no matter what. Sounds kind of cute and cliche or something, but it's actually a really, 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 it's a heavy thing. And it's something that requires that we have a little bit of a check in our spirit, and that we are able to take a step back and humble our heart and really let it go, and it requires patience, because right now I don't have the answer right now. I'm not sure right now. So that pressure is there to have an answer, to make the right decision, all this sort of thing. And so, so it just requires that kind of patience and surrender and that. So anyway, hopefully that'll all turn out all right. And if it doesn't, I'll learn one way or another. If it goes well, I'll learn from that. If it doesn't go well, then I'll learn from that also. So anyway, that's kind of how the morning started, and I was sharing that with Cabe when we came in. Not necessarily all the details, but just the challenge of my heart, like trying to figure out the right part of it, which is a challenge that we have as husbands. Cabe's married, and as a husband, we want to do the right thing, want to make good decisions, be successful, lead our families, protect our families, provide and protect for our wives, and we're also just trying to figure ourselves out. We're trying to figure out what's going on, in our own world and in our own mind, and deal with our own crap, and so so one of the cool things about us working together is we get some cool conversation time, which I've kind of missed. We haven't done that because I haven't been here, so it's been a little while. So how you doing? Everything all right? That's cool. Okay.
Now that the camera's on.
Now that the camera's off, yeah. No, the camera's still on. We have like one viewer. It's awesome. No. No, we have more than one. Yeah, sweet. So anyway, this is an experimental video. Just wanted to test YouTube live here and post a video. Maybe I'll start doing a video a week or something like that. Just thinking about come in and just talk about random crap and whatever's going on. Okay, so what else happened this week? So we got out of this event, got home, kind of recover from the travel, that sort of thing. And then of course, like the markets, so last night I did I do a monthly coaching call with people that are these are like people that have gone through our True Wealth Formula implementation program over at truewealthformula.com, and then people that have or people that have the app, the Wealth Builder app, and then that essentially have gone through the course material and they want that accountability and that coaching, that regular accountability and coaching. So I meet with that group once a month. It's a relatively small group. And they have access to chat with me directly through the app if they've got a question or something like that. So last night we had a great call on that. We had, the markets right now, the Dow just put in a new high, and let me just check it where it's at right now. So essentially where things are at as of today is all three indexes, the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, they either just put in a new high. So basically what that means is that the uptrend has been reconfirmed. It's still intact. So back in in 2017, there was like almost no corrections in the market. Like it was the most, I think the year 2017 set a year for volatility, for lack of volatility. Like I don't even think there was a single month where there was a 1% correction, which is just insane, right? Like a 10% correction, it would be totally normal. But if that happened right now, like it would absolutely terrify everybody. People would like freak out. They would be like lighting their hair on fire. And if you follow, like your news feeds would just be lit up. Your radio and your TV stuff, MSNBC would just be, oh, market's crashing, da 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 da. But the thing is like that's like normal. That's normal volatility. So we've been in this season where the volatility's been where it's been like really minimum volatility. I'm not picking my nose, by the way. I'm just scratching my nose right here. It looks like I'm picking my nose. My mom sent me this text message the other day. She's like, "Don't pick your nose, son, when you do videos." I'm like, "Sweet, Mom, thank you." No, this is scratching your nose. Like this would be picking my nose. Okay.
We should do a video on how to pick your nose.
We do a how to pick your nose video.
If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it.
I don't know. If you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the markets right now. Okay, so last year there's like no volatility, which creates complacency. So we've been in the season of no volatility. Well, then this year in February, the market started correcting, and some uptrends were broken, and then sort of a sideways motion that happened with particularly like the Dow broke its trend, and then within a month, all three markets were basically had stopped making new highs, and so there was a period of time for about 4, 5, 6 months where it was like, okay, which direction is this going to go in? Are the markets rolling over, or are they going to resume the uptrend? And that's a really, really good thing for markets. It's a healthy thing to have that happen. And so then I forgot which one came along first. Maybe it was the NASDAQ, I believe, that made a new high. Then the S&P did, but then the Dow wasn't. Well, just a couple of days ago, the Dow did. So we're basically back in that uptrend. Now, that could change. Like it could reverse. Like it could just stop, okay, and it would roll over again. But typically what happens is that what you're looking for is is a market, and this could be an individual stock, this could be your local real estate market, it doesn't matter. All markets boom and bust. So when we talk about this extensively in True Wealth Formula, in the implementation program, every single market, doesn't matter what it is, booms and busts. Okay, so you have to be able to look at, now some markets boom and bust big and others boom and bust small. Okay, so like real estate, it's a boom and bust market, and it also does that differently in different regions. It's very localized, right? Stock market, boom and bust. Bond market, right? Currency markets, right? They trend up, they trend down, or they go sideways. So what you're looking for is that market making new highs. Okay, so what you're looking for is higher highs and higher lows. That's an uptrend. Okay, if you see lower highs and lower lows, that's a downtrend. So so that's a quick way that you can look at a chart that's a year long, or now that's going to change. You can have trends within trends. You could have a long-term trend, and that's typically the 200-day moving average. It's sort of the standard for long trends. So if you're using Yahoo Finance or the TD Ameritrade app or site, you can or any of the charting sites. Trading View is another one that a lot of the crypto guys use. It just depends on what you're looking at, but you can look at your charts, your price charts. So price and volume are your two key indicators, but then you can overlay moving averages. Okay, so one of the most common ones is the 200-day moving average. So if you're talking about managing money, you want to have a system that allows you to two things. One is you want your focus to be on cash flow assets, okay? Because you want to be able to compound. There's all kinds of reasons for that I won't go into here on this video because I'm just rambling right now. But again, you can get in the course, you can get that information that's in there, but or some of the free videos and other things that we do. But so you want to primarily focus on cash flow assets. Okay, that's the number one biggest mistake that people make with their money, right? Is that they put their money into things that they think are investments, but are really speculations. Okay, so this is why the 99% end up not having the financial success that they think, despite even what financial advisors and experts and people tell them to do. Okay, the other, so cash, focus on cash flow, but then the other thing is you want to have a system that allows you to identify a trend, know what a trend is, and get in the trend and stay in the trend. Okay, so like for example, when a market makes a new high, a lot of people think, oh well, like you hear right now, oh the market's just made a new high. Like my Twitter newsfeed and all kinds of stuff right now is filled right now with experts that are like, okay, the market's gonna crash. They're all predicting a crash right now because the market's just set a new high. Okay, well they might be right. Like the thing about predictions is you like nobody makes accurate predictions. Okay. And the old saying is that if you're going to make a prediction, you can say it's okay to say what's going to happen. Just don't ever say when, right? If you're going to say what, don't say when. And that if you watch these guys, if you start to learn to watch these guys, you'll see that the smart ones, the ones that are really good, like the really good marketers, and particularly in the financial world. But you can see this everywhere. You can see this in marketing, whatever your business is. You can see this with in the religious world. Okay, with people that are labeled as being a prophet. You will see a common pattern. The common pattern is just talk about what is going to happen, but the smart ones won't say when, because I can sit here today and I can tell you the market's going to crash. You know, there's a big crash coming. There's a big collapse coming. The dollar is going to collapse. Okay, you need to have all your money in gold or Bitcoin or on and on and on. So I can basically talk about some scenario, some impending event, okay, that's going to happen in the future, right? And the way I talk about it will make you feel like it's extremely urgent and about to happen right now, okay? Then I can say the solution to that is whatever it is I'm selling. If I'm selling gold, I can say gold is a solution. If I'm pushing Bitcoin or crypto, I can push that. If I'm pushing real estate or productive farmland, whatever it is, right, that I want to sell, I can do that by making a prediction about something that is going to happen someday. If you study history and you study the cycles of history, I talk a lot about this in the True Wealth Formula full course. Right? If you look at the big patterns of human nature and history, like the patterns repeat. Why? Because we're the same. We're not learning, right? Or we do learn, but you don't have transfer of knowledge and wisdom across generations. You don't have intergenerational transfer of knowledge and wisdom. So like right now, politically speaking, in our political landscape, you have a lot of chaos. You have millennials and a younger generation that believe that communism, or they won't call it that, but they'll call it socialism or Marxism or, you know, whatever, that's a better road, that's a better path. And then you point to countries like Venezuela or, you know, North Korea or, you know, on and on and on. You could point to these different examples of where that's failed. They go, no, that's just, they're just not doing it right there. If they did it right, then that's the path forward. Well, show us an example of where it's been done right. Like capitalism is far from perfect. And right now there are heavy abuses in capitalism. The primary abuses in capitalism right now have to do with with global corporations, okay, globalists working with globalists inside of global governments, right, that are protecting each other and colluding with each other. All right, too big to fail. And it's not real capitalism, because real capitalism allows failure. Okay, it actually encourages failure. Real capitalism, if you what it does is it removes, it lets the free market, the capital markets, decide whether a product is good or not to the market. Okay, I don't know about you, but I don't want somebody deciding for me this is the only product you can use, right? Like I don't want, now there is room for protection. You do need, inside of a government system, you need to have an authority somewhere that is protecting fraudsters, scams, people that are creating products. Or let's talk about the medicine industry or the health industry, right? You obviously you do need some oversight and some regulation in some cases to protect abuse, okay? But when that turns into corporations that are lobbying governments to give themselves protection, right? So the problem is that the elite, that the shareholder, which should be the taxpayer, is not the one that's being given the highest priority. Who's given the highest priority are the collusion between government and corporations, okay? So in a pure capitalist free market system, failure is allowed to happen. So if I start a business and it fails, well, I'm going to learn, okay? But if I never fail because I'm being protected and I'm given a bailout, and my risk, the risk that I take as a business owner and as an entrepreneur in starting a business, that risk is transferred. And you have a risk transfer from where it should be to somebody else. Well, that's not capitalism, okay? So that's what's going on right now. So back to the point I was making is there's a lack of knowledge and wisdom transfer between generations. And if you understand, that's why you don't have collapse, except for places like Argentina, which seems to be collapsing like every 10 or 15 years, the currency blows up, right? They just can't get off of this socialist government path system that, spends too much money, misabuses the public. Now, Argentina is a beautiful place. We're hoping to go travel there soon. It's one of the places that's on our list. And the people are probably beautiful, amazing people with an incredible culture. Okay, so this has nothing to do with saying one culture or type of people are better than another. We're all his children. We're all created equal in his eyes. Okay, but there are different systems, right? So, and if you look throughout the Old Testament, you will see these patterns, right? You will see the governmental system that the Creator gave people and said, do this system. And then the people came and said, no, we don't like that system. We want this other system because that's what everybody else has. And the Creator said, you really don't want that. Like, trust me, right? If you do that, this is what's going to happen to you. And the people said, no, we still want that. And then that's exactly what happened. So human nature basically causes us to go through, these patterns that just keep repeating themselves. So there's this lack of knowledge and wisdom transfer across generations. So it takes time. So that point had to do with the point that I was making about making a prediction, right? So you can make a prediction, and I could say that, there's going to be this big collapse. The dollar's going to collapse, America, right? I could say, the death of America, right? That was a huge, very wildly successful marketing campaign that was put out by Stansberry, okay, several years ago. And it was huge, like it doubled the size of their business. Why? Because there's this crazy story, okay? It had enough truth, it had historical references and facts in it, right? It was, so it was this incredibly, very crazy story or big idea, okay? And if you're in business and you're marketing, this is a lesson and a something that we can learn from, right? But they tapped into this really crazy idea, and it was sentiment. It resonated with a big portion of the population at the time. This is back in 2011, and it had enough facts in it, and it was believable enough, meaning that the prediction and the story that campaign was wrapped around had an element of truth to it, and in that, most people deep down inside know that eventually, like, that's going to happen, because every system in history that eventually happens. Okay, every empire eventually does collapse. Well, but we don't know when that's going to happen. Okay, so it's really smart marketing, because you make the prediction, right? You amplify the cost or the fear, but you don't give a timeline. Okay, now you can see this in the church, right? For figures that are in that world that are really good at selling and promoting books. You can see this with any industry. Okay, the people that are the biggest salespeople, that have the most successful campaigns. Certainly, it's in the investment advisory industry. Across the board, you're going to find that they tap into this basic formula that plays on our human nature. Okay. So then at the end of that, what you do is you push and you sell into a product or a solution. So the perception in the hearer or the seer is like, oh my God, this is imminent. This is happening now. This is serious. I got to do something now, right now, today. And so I'm going to buy. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to relieve that pain, which is buy that product, buy that fund, right? Follow that guru, whatever it is that solves that situation right there. Now, a few years go by or whatever, and eventually that prediction, now I'm using a big case scenario in this example, but in other cases it might be a small thing. Well, maybe the person's totally wrong on their timing, okay? Eventually it happens though sometime, or you can have trends within larger trends. So you could have a long-term uptrend, but nothing goes straight up, okay? Inside of that long-term uptrend, you can have medium-term corrections, okay? Adjustments, even crashes, okay? Right? Like if you look at the long-term trend of the United States over the last 100 years, it's obviously very clearly in an uptrend, right? But if you look at it since the year 2000 and you run stats since 2000, well, we had a monstrous crash. We had the dot-com bubble crash in March of 2000, okay? Then you had the financial crisis starting in 2008 and then oddly enough, ending in March of 2009. So exactly 9 years apart. So here we are, we're in 2018, 9 years later, and the market's still kind of grinding higher. So the point is that a prediction can be made, and you don't know. So when you hear an expert on TV talking about, well, this market's going to crash or whatever, you really don't know, like what's the timeline they're talking about, right? So this is going back to the original point. This is like a loop within a loop. This is almost like Inception right now. It's like a loop, like a dream within a dream within a dream. All these different points I'm trying to make. So you have to rewind this and go all the way back now to figure out what I was originally talking about, which I have no idea at this point. But anyway, so right now the markets are making new highs, but there are people, quote, experts on TV and out there that are saying, oh, it's going to crash, it's going to crash. Well, it is going to crash. There are going to be corrections, but what's that long-term trend? So the whole idea, and what I work with my clients and with people that are in True Wealth Formula, is to help them to start to learn to perceive and see these marketing messages, the infomercial marketing that's going on all around us in politics and financial sector, the health sector, I mean, like everywhere, to be able to start to discern that and parse that, so that we're not a victim to it and we're not being tossed to and fro from the wind as a dependent on that, but that we can parse that and discern it, and then that we can look at those trends and look at the big picture, figure out the context, figure out the big picture, so that then we can make our own decisions and we can do it wisely, okay? So you have this big picture part, okay, and you have just massive amounts of information coming in all the time that's confusing us. We got to parse it out, discern it out, kind of know how to see discern the signal from the noise. 99% of it's just noise. So what's the signal? Okay. What's the important stuff? Okay. Then how does that apply to me? How does that affect my strategy? How does it affect my decision making with my money, right? With the money I'm responsible for, right? How do I implement a strategy that works both long-term and short-term? Because I want to capture that long-term trend, right? I want to be able to 20 years from now look back and say, wow, I did the right thing, and I had a lot of opportunity to back out or make a decision or to change, but my system kept me in this for the right thing for the long term, versus my mind, which can have me making, and my emotions, which can have me jumping around all over the place. Every time I hear a new good investment idea, oh, I'm chasing that. And then every time I hear, oh, this is a bad thing, get out of this, I'm getting out of that, right? So the whole thing is about us developing that system so we're less opportunity focused and we're less like grasping at the wind, and we become very stable, very solid, and we're strategic, and then we have our own tactics that we use within that strategy, okay? And the tactics that we use with our money, okay, within the context of that strategy allow us maneuverability, allow us adaptability, allow us to seize an opportunity, hit that opportunity, all without getting knocked out of the game. Okay, all be able to do that while winning the war. Okay, and I will say that the war is a 20-year time frame of just mastering our money, having our money be like being in a place where we're no longer a slave to our money. Okay, anyway, so that's where the markets are today. They just hit new highs recently. We'll see how that plays out in the coming days. So what did we talk about in this video? We talked about a little update on the Hot Marriage Secrets event that we did in Maui last weekend, and the amazing, awesome experience that was. It was super, just totally awesome. A little bit of my personal life in the last few months and weeks, and kind of a conflict situation that's going on right now. Very, very, very small, not anything serious, but just like working that out between my beautiful wife and I on how to resolve, two different independent people that have free will that are, working to, live in peace and harmony. And how do I take that code that we talked about at HMS and apply that, to this situation? How do I do the right thing no matter what, when maybe I don't know what the right thing is? What do I do with that, right? Because it's very easy to say, well, I know what's right. Well, the truth is we don't. Sometimes what we think is right is not what is right. So we talked about that at the beginning of this video, and then we got into markets and predictions and marketing, and how to make a presentation if you're selling something, how to create a story that is very, the different elements of a story that can get people to act, right? That you can use that. So this was kind of a fun video, okay? I've just been rambling here. We're on YouTube Live, and we got a couple people still here. This would make a good podcast, maybe. So we'll see. Maybe we'll flip this beast into something else here. But anyway, we'll sign off here. The thing is it's hard for me to get going, but it takes me a little while. But once I get going, I have fun. So anyway, thanks to those of you that joined us for this spontaneous impromptu video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. If you want to find out more information about me, you could do that over at wealthbuilder.io. You can also do that at truewealthformula.com. If you want to find out about my wife, Danny, the best way to do that is at dannyjohnson.com. And that site really specializes in, the total life picture about increasing your income, experiencing, breakthrough in relationships. And we've had just tens. We founded that company back in 2003. And the vision that, when we started it, was to really just create so much results for people that like they would just like their whole life would just radically change. And we have tens and thousands of stories on there. So there's that site there. And then for the financial stuff, truewealthformula.com, you can learn some of this stuff that I've been talking about. I don't know. Let's see if there'll be another HMS event. We haven't made that decision yet. We just did the second annual. It's an experiment. People loved the first one, and it looked like there was a lot of success that came out of this one. But we'll see. And that event is currently marketed over at dannyjohnson.com. There's a First Steps to Success event that's going on in, I think, this next month here in Atlanta. So you want to check into that. But there's events that are going on all the time, all over the place. And then for me, best place to reach me is over at wealthbuilder.io. If you haven't downloaded the app yet on your we have the app is available through iOS, through the Apple platform, or through Google. And 5-star rated app, just crazy, insane like testimonials that people have had on the app. We have some proprietary calculators that, in fact, I didn't even talk about this, but we talked about it last night on our call. We just released like the most insane compound growth calculator. And we have a whole series of calculators that walk people through kind of our process that we do with people. But The new one that we just put out is just unbelievable. So you want to check that out and play around with those calculators, watch some of the videos, sign up for the course so that you can start working through that course and start seeing the kind of, crazy momentum. I always tell people that if you learn TWF and you do TWF, you, without exception, 100% guarantee, every single month you will become more wealthy. Every single month of your life, you will not have a month where you are not making forward progress. You will not have a month where you are not getting richer and where your balance sheet, everything you owe, your own minus everything you owe, okay, so your assets, where that's not advancing and growing, right? And so that's what's so incredible about this system. It's been in development for over 20 years, development and constant testing, and it's my personal my personal journey of finance, coming out of poverty and growing up on the streets in Hawaii, growing up on food stamps, and then figuring out, how, becoming an entrepreneur. But then once you become an entrepreneur, you start to have success. And then the question is, okay, then now what? How do you start to build a legacy? How do you manage those resources, in a way that is a good steward and takes ground and holds it and advances it, right? How do you invest your capital in today's day and age where there's so much confusion and complexity and risk and up is down and down is up? How do you actually do that, right? How do you dominate in a world of uncertainty, right? And that's the key right there. So anyway, you can get that information over at wealthbuilder.io. Check the app out. Give us comments or feedback on this video. And if you're watching this on another platform, then you can leave your comment there, or you can go over to YouTube, over to our YouTube channel, Hans Johnson Live on YouTube, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. Twitter, I'm on Twitter. That's kind of my more of an unfiltered, off the cuff, a little more political, definitely always politically incorrect environment for me as far as social goes. Facebook is kind of nice and warm and fuzzy, and you don't want to push too hard on the Facebook environment. People don't like that over there. Anyway, so yeah, fun video. Thanks for being with us. God bless. Booyah.
That'd be pretty fun to do.